Also, you're gonna have to just memorize what I told for number one. For number two, congruent triangles. Signal flags are used to communicate messages when radio silence is required. The Zulu flag, the Zulu signal flag means I require a tug. GJ is equal to GH. This is the same as that. Is equal to GL is equal to GK, and those are all 20 inches long. Use side angle side to explain why JGK is congruent to LGH. So how could side angle side be used to prove that? Yeah, because when you have intersecting lines, you have vertical angles there. So that's why side angle side. We have a side that's congruent to a side, angle that's congruent to an angle, side that's congruent to a side, side, angle, side. You would write some type of narrative along those lines. I'm not going to be too picky. Meaning like I'm not checking grammar. Some people English language or spelling maybe not might be as well as somebody else's. Like I'm not gonna really scrutinize the spelling and stuff in the grammar, but just make sure you marking a diagram would help. But then just try to write like a sentence or two. The lights shining on a stage appear to form two congruent side triangles. Given that EC is congruent to DB, use side angle side to explain why triangle ECB is congruent to DBC. So ECB, and explain why that's congruent to DCB. So like these triangles, because since lights emit invisible rays that go in a direction, this could actually be proven more than one way. But the thing is, they specifically say side angle side. Now they've helped you on the diagram. I don't know if you can see it on the copy, but they put that those are right angles, so that's more than likely going to be the angle. Just for fun, and see who's actually learned something. What do you call it when something, in this case an angle, is in between two other things? Like, when you have an angle in between two sides, included, good. So that would have to be the included angle. Now, what would you explain? Well, since the lights are like if I were to call this light 1 and light 2, the distance from light 1 to light 2 is the same as from light 2 to light 1. Reflexive property. Like this side down here is a shared side by reflexive. Okay, and then because they gave you information that says that those two are the same, that's why this would be side angle side, side angle side. And then you would just try to write some narrative along those lines. Remember that a performance final is somewhat akin to an essay, so you may have to write some type of a narrative. But I understand there's not an English class, so I'm gonna grade you more on the math, like sentence structure and stuff like that. Any questions there? Okay, so that's it for page 1, right? All right, so let's go to page 2, which at least will seem more familiar, or at least more recent. We just finished covering trig. Find the values of x and y. All right. Let's do x first. What can we use to find x? Cosine, sure, because x is the leg that is adjacent to the 36. So I would say cosine of 36 is equal to the adjacent, which is x, over the hypotenuse, which is 7. When you're looking for the side on the multiply, good. X is equal to 7 cosine 36. And it doesn't tell us where to round, so let's go to the nearest hundreds. Make sure that your calculator's on degrees. 7 cosine 36? No, 100. How many zeros are there in 100? 2, so 2 decimals. 5.6? 5.66? Yeah. And then how can we find y? Sine of 36 is equal to y over 7. Even though it's a different trig function, I'm still missing the side on the top of the ratio. So y is equal to 7 sine 36, you multiply. So y is approximately equal to 4 point. A tree casts a shadow 21 meters long. The angle of elevation of the sun is 55 degrees. How tall is the tree? So this could be a little bit harder if it wasn't drawn out for you, but here it is. For some reason you get something that's not drawn out for you in a diagram, you draw the diagram. We've already talked about how to draw angles of elevation and angles of depression. What can I use to find x here?
Tangent.
Tangent, good, because the x is the opposite, so I would say tan of 55 is equal to the x over 21, just like the previous two. We're looking for the side on the top. So Ruby Roofs, what would we do when you're looking for the? You multiply it, so x is equal to 21 tan 55, 30 degrees. Yeah, we're looking for meters. It doesn't tell us for the round, so when it doesn't tell me, I like to go hundreds. When it's lengths, when it's angles, I like to go either to the nearest degree or just maybe to the tens if I'm not told. 29.9. Devin stands on level ground a certain distance away from the foot of a building known to be 174.6 meters high. So that's not labeled, so I'll label it. What will the angle of elevation be if Devin is 50 meters away from the building? So in order to find an angle using trig, we use the inverses, but then we also need to be given two sides, which we are. So what inverse function are we going to use here? Yeah, I'll call it what, A for angle. So I think the angle of elevation is going to be inverse tangent of 174.6 divided by 50. It doesn't tell us what around, so what do we get? 74. Yeah, when it's that close, I'll just usually go to the nearest degree. I'll stretch it out to the ones place if it's somewhere closer to the middle, like a 0.4 or a 0.7, something like that, then I'll. But it's something that close to 74. And then finally the last, geez, that's weird. There's 4 topics covered here. That's weird. Almost like if there's going to be 4 questions on the performance exam tomorrow. There's going to be 4, yeah, of which you're only going to have to answer 2. So, and there's 4 on here, so that's. Coincidence. All right, parallel lines. Find the measure of each of the numbered angles in the diagram. When you have parallel lines, every single angle in the diagram is either going to be, it's going to be one of 2 things, either supplementary, even though that's the one I would have thought you would have said second, but yes, supplementary. Congruent or supplementary, So all the ones that are vertical, corresponding, alternate interior, all those are congruent. So the 4 of them that are congruent to the one that they give you. And then the rest of them are supplementario. 60, 60, 60, 60. So find the measure of each of the numbered angles. Well, I already did that. I mean, maybe you have a little more time tomorrow, you can just write it out, like measure of angle 1 is equal to 120, measure of angle 2 is equal to 50, 60. Make it look nice and pretty. But which angles are corresponding? We can write this out. Which angles corresponding to 120? Just angle 1, that's it. If we're talking about the 120. 120 corresponding means same location. 120 is in the top left of that intersection. Angle 1 is in the top left. Also remember, notation wise, up here when you're finding the measure of an angle, if you were to write these out, you'd have to write like measure of angle 1 is equal to 120. But here they're just asking me to name the angle, so I just put like angle 1. What is same side interior with 120? Angle 3. It's on the inside. Look at your paper. What's alternate interior with 120 that they gave you? Faux. And what's vertical with a 120? 7. So far, everything that's on here, except for trig, you guys covered back in the good old days with the last teacher. Trig you did with me. And then finally, the last one. Yay, we made it on time. Write a convincing argument as to why angle 1 and angle 15 are congruent. So the reason why they're asking you to write an argument is because there is no transversal that connects this intersection directly to this one. So I would assume any argument is going to have to include transitive property. Transitive property says that if event A leads to event B, and then event B leads to event C, that means that event A would lead to event C. Okay, so like for instance, let's talk about some. When there is a chance of ice on the roads, then school start late. When school starts late, that means charisma sleeps in later. So what can you then say? Even though there's no direct connection between the two, when there's a chance of ice on the roads, what do you assume will happen? Charisma is going to sleep until later. Even when there's not ice, sometimes charisma sleeps until later. So if we look at, see, 1 and 15, there's several ways you can construct this argument. I would probably say something along the lines of angle 1 is congruent to angle 11 because, well, what's the relation between 1 and 11? Because there is a transversal that connects them. Because they're alternate exterior. Then angle 11 is congruent to angle 15 because of they are corresponding. They're in the same location. They're both bottom right. So then, therefore, try to write this in the narrative. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 15. I already gave you the answer. If event A leads to event B and event B leads to event C. Yeah, I wrote that they're congruent, but why? It starts with a T and ends with a transitive. Yeah, transitive property. You have now been reviewed for the final just a moment. Since we have a couple minutes, if I can just keep your attention while you're, and I'll even leave this on the video. If I can have your attention while you're packing up and stuff. What I was telling you when you got here. If you look at the, yeah, I'd like to keep your attention at the E-class page, week 18. So for week 18, you have the regular final exam review that's been on here since the weekend before last. Okay, that this is the 7 different grades that's due Sunday. You now have this take-home final exam where you can be like, oh wow, but that's so much work. Well, if you don't do it, it's not going to lower your grade. But if you do it, then it's going to replace your lowest quiz grade. So it's kind of worth your while if you spend this weekend studying. That's going to also be due by Sunday. I have to make this due Sunday because we test on Monday. The real test is on Monday. And then you have the results of yesterday's practice test. Okay, you have your actual and then your adjusted. There's only one person where the adjusted actually the curve brought down their grade, but then like this person here that got the lowest score, the 23, the curve brought them down to a 21. But I let you keep the higher of the two. So you can keep the. Okay. Any questions then on anything I said? Remember, Thursday is a very important day. I would advise you if you want to study for Thursday, look at these two, number 5 and number 6. That's this practice quiz that every every geometry kid is taking that could possibly replace. It will be a quiz grade unto itself, but in addition to that, it could replace your lowest 2 test grades. I'm sorry, I take that back. Let me rephrase. Not your lowest 2 test grades, but it could replace those 2, the similarity and the right triangle test, assuming that it's lower. Those 2 test grades here. On Thursday, you're going to take a quiz that's 20 questions. 10 come from similarity, 10 come from right triangles. So if you do better on the 10 questions, like let's say on the similarity part, you get 9 out of 10 correct. That's a 90%. But on the actual similarity test that we took a month ago, you got a 57. Well, 90 is higher than 57, so I go back and I change it to a 90. But only these 2, because I said it wrong. I said the lowest one, but it's not going to replace anything before. It's only these 2 right here. Right triangles and similarity, yeah, those 2 would be the ones you want to study. And then the mixed review quiz grade and this take-home final are probably the heaviest weighted grades there, so you'd want to do those 2. But at least those you have until Sunday. So more urgent, I would do similarity and right triangles.